Leader of the Opposition.
Mr President, I move that standing and sessional orders be suspended to allow private members' business item 555 outside the order of precedence relating to an order of papers regarding the Learning Management and Business Reform Report to be called on forthwith.
Hear, hear.
Mr President.
Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr President. The LMBR program is a New South Wales Department of Education project designed to replace various computer systems to roll them all into one IT system in schools and TAFEs, including HR, payroll, finance and student administration. It was meant to be completed and operating across all 2,218 schools by December 2014 at a cost of $483 million. To date, the program has cost $573 million, is $90 million over budget, is 6 months late and has only been rolled out to 1 in 10 schools, that is 229 schools. Importantly, and this is why it's urgent, Mr Assistant President, the government has repeatedly refused requests to release any information about the project's total costs. In today's Daily Telegraph, the LMBR disaster is stated as placing unanticipated pressure on the state's education budget and may not be fully rolled out until 2018, 3 years late, according to documents released under GIPA. The Telegraph has also revealed in a November 2014 memo to the Director-General of Education, and I quote, "It is acknowledged the program has a number of additional funding allocations and is yet to complete the original scope of works," unquote.
Yeah.
As Mr President, as bad as this program is, and despite the fact the Auditor-General has been able to determine how much has been spent up until now, extraordinarily the government will not reveal to the taxpayer the full cost of the LMBR to the taxpayers of this state. The Auditor-General says the $573 million figure is an underestimate and not all costs have been included. Now this motion is urgent because the government has been censoring large tracts of information from the public about the costs of the scheme, citing commercial in confidence for the censoring. However, on nearly all of the government projects listed on the federal government's National Infrastructure Construction Schedule that place dollar amounts on major projects being undertaken by this government. We find it convenient, inverted commas, that one of the only major projects censored on cost grounds also happens to be the subject of significant public interest and a significant cost blowout. It should be remembered, and this is why this matter is urgent, this issue has been pursued in the other place through questions without notice 16 times since the 7th of May 2015. In the budget estimates education hearings, there were around 60 to 70 questions, including follow-up questions, and in the Treasury budget estimates hearings, there were about 7 to 8 questions, including follow-up questions. The Treasurer has confirmed that the Department of Education will be forced to cover the costs of the blowout from existing funding, which means schools will be forced to raise their capital expenditure budgets, meaning less money for the maintenance and upkeep of schools, or out of their recurrent budgets, which could impact on the number of teachers in classrooms and the services being directly provided to our children across the state. The final cost is reported to be anywhere up to $1 billion. The Premier mentioned in Parliament on the 4th of August, and I quote, that the LMBR would be implemented across 2016, unquote. However, last week it was revealed that implementation in high schools will only begin in September 2017, and as I indicated in this morning's media reports, it could well be not until 2018. Mr President, this is urgent because taxpayers deserve to know from this government how much has been wasted on the LMBR project and what Education Department projects will be delayed, cut or withdrawn to pay for this disaster. And it's urgent because the government is failing to abide by the Westminster principles of integrity and accountability by answering questions through the responsible minister or through the Treasurer in the other place or through the budget estimates process. It's not limited to this issue. There is a systematic pattern of hedging, of weasel words, of ducking the issues across government activity, and it is the role of this... I'll acknowledge those disorderly interjections, but the fact is this House of Review has the power and the responsibility to put the spotlight on the dark places of government administration.
The dark corners.
I acknowledge that interjection, and to call this government to account and to hold it accountable. Mr Assistant President, I urge all members of this House to join with the opposition and require these documents to see the light of day.
Here. Be on the side of angels.
That was urgency. it's just me and Duncan.
Are there any other speakers?
He agrees to urgency.
Mr. President,
There's only when it's a suspension for
You don't get to speak.
It's only the mover and the minister.
Yeah, he can't speak on urgency.
Under standing orders, only the minister, the mover and the minister can speak on a motion to suspend standing orders, and the minister does not wish to speak. If there are no other speaker from the government, then we'll put the motion. All those in favour of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against say no.
No.
The ayes have it.
The ayes have it. Yeah.
The ayes have it.
So that was urgent.